You want to run it? You want me to do it?
Go for it, Jerry.
We will call to order the special meeting for the Redistricting Commission districts in Valley County. This is, what is today, December 14th?
14th. I had to look the watch.
Commissioner Hasbrook is not present at this moment in time, so are we live, Doug?
I
going to
believe,
Okay,
Madam Chairman.
so Jeremy, let us know if for some reason we're not recording, but if we are, we will just move forward, so.
My understanding, Commissioners, is he is live streaming on our YouTube page.
Okay.
So it will be up and live on our Valley County website.
Okay, perfect. So tonight we're going to have a presentation from our GIS analyst, Kara Utter. She has put together a proposal on redistricting our commissioner districts based upon census data. So Kara, take it away. I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Commissioner. As I present these data and analyses on the redistricting, I will be using the redistricting story map report that's available on our website for the public to review or follow along. Proposed commissioner districts boundaries have been drafted in response to our constitutional mandate to redraw district lines using decennial census data, which is the primary federal data source for population, age, and race. It should be noted that this was a collaboration between myself, the commissioners, and our legal department. Equal population is the fundamental law of redistricting, which specifically being that total populations must be as nearly equal as possible. The second federal law ensures that discrimination based on race does not occur. This means that as boundaries are adjusted, minorities that can benefit from common representation must be considered so that major minority communities are not fragmented, isolated, or diluted. Other considerations that are commonly required for local redistricting processes are voter age population, other communities of interest, compactness, contiguity, and partisan fairness. Partisan fairness was accomplished by using data that had no personal information attached, such as registered political party or status. Spatial analyses were completed in a geographic information system, hereafter referred to as a GIS, using the current commissioner district boundaries and the 2020 decennial census redistricting data. The 2020 decennial census data provides population, age, and race data by census block, which is the smallest unit of geography that is maintained by the Census Bureau. Census blocks are about the size of a city block, and they're bounded by visible features such as streets and streams and non-visible boundaries such as property boundaries, city boundaries, or even school district boundaries. So to help tie the data from a census block to a particular commissioner district, a centroid point was created for each census block to represent that block's population center. Each centroid point was then assigned to a commissioner district based on its spatial location. So any centroid point that is in the Donnelly Commissioner District was assigned to that district, and so on. Figure 2, shown on the screen here, is just an illustration of the census block centroids that were created from the census blocks. A summary of total population and voter age population was calculated in a GIS, and the results showed that out of 11,746 people represented in the 2020 decennial census for Valley County, a little more than 50% are currently contained in the Donnelly Commissioner District, with McCall and Cascade districts splitting the remaining population almost evenly, as can be seen here in Figure 3A. The other result was that out of 9,560 people of voting age represented in Valley County, again, a little more than 50% are currently contained within the Donnelly Commissioner District, with the McCall and Cascade districts splitting the remaining voter age population almost evenly. So these results reveal that population centers from the Donnelly Commissioner District need to be reapportioned for the McCall and Cascade Commissioner Districts to balance out population counts. Idaho legislative and congressional criteria for redistricting states that communities of interest cannot be divided. And Valley County does consider its cities as communities of interest and therefore shall not be divided. So our first step was to pull all of the census blocks from the Donnelly Commissioner District, which exists within the City of McCall boundaries, into the McCall Commissioner District. Figure 4 illustrates this. And because the City of McCall is such a dense population center, the proposed population for the McCall Commissioner District just drastically increased with this move. So we had to balance that out. If you look at figure 5, it illustrates the area that is south of the City of McCall and west of Highway 55 was pulled into the Donnelly Commissioner District.
So can I ask very simple questions? But because my map is and my eyes and all that, does that include Rio Vista? When I went to the library and tried to figure like that out, I couldn't really.
And I'll get to a point where we'll be able to look at that at the end of the
Okay, thank you.
presentation. Yes,
Thank you.
So
yes,
it's city
right.
boundaries.
you're very welcome.
It's, yeah,
City
and, okay.
boundaries.
Well, that's a bigger one. So,
Yeah.
yeah, because I have these little ones. So. Oh, that's good.
Okay,
McCall would encompass Rio Vista.
All right. Okay, thanks.
yep, we're,
And letting
welcome.
you know that that comes later is also helpful.
yes, yep. So using minority data, we were able to map the occurrence of minority populations to ensure that major minority centers weren't being fragmented or isolated. As illustrated in the figures on the screen, which are also available in the online report, the minorities that were reviewed were the Hispanic or Latino population, American Indian or Alaska Native, Black or African American, and Asian. Adjusting the Cascade Commissioner District proved a little more challenging because there aren't many population centers that are close to the Cascade Commissioner District that aren't also very close in proximity to either the City of Donnelly or the communities that surround the City of Donnelly. As illustrated here in figure 10, a very large portion of land had to be pulled from the Donnelly Commissioner District into the Cascade Commissioner District to help balance out populations in all of the districts. A combination of waterways, streets, census blocks, topography, and the public land survey system is what helped to reshape this boundary. Again, minority percentage data was mapped in order to ensure that major minority communities were not being isolated or fragmented relative to the proposed commissioner district boundary lines. Right. A summary of total population and voter age population was then calculated in a GIS for each draft district. The results were much more evenly distributed. Figure 16A shows that there's only a 2% difference between the largest and smallest percentage when it comes to total population in the districts. Figure 16B shows that there's only a 1% difference between the smallest and the largest percentages when it comes to voter age population. And just to explain this a little further, figure 16B shows that Donnelly contains 33% of the voter age population when considering the proposed commissioner district boundaries. Cascade also contains 33%, but McCall contains 34% of the voter age population. So there's only a 1% difference between the smallest and the largest percentage. These results show that proposed reapportionment of Valley County Commissioner districts hold legal ground because it's become accepted as a local district that new boundaries are not constitutionally suspect if the largest and smallest populations are less than 10% apart. The reference for that last statement is also available in the online report. So the last thing I will show is that there is a map comparison lookup in the report online. There's a vertical white bar that goes through the middle of the map. And what this does is allows me to slide back and forth. If I slide to the right, what you're viewing are the current commissioner districts. If I slide the bar to the left, what you see are the proposed commissioner districts. Sliding it back and forth automates and gives you a little more detail over the adjustments that are being proposed to the commissioner districts. And this is also a map that anyone can use to zoom into areas of interest, including their home, and then zoom back and forth to see the differences in the proposed districts in much more detail. And with that, I will conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Kara. That was awesome.
I did not pick up on the slider when I was there before. I was like, why is there a white line in the middle?
It's good. Someone asked me, it's called story time or something.
Story map.
Story map, yeah. I'm currently living without a computer or Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
So I go to the library and kind of check this out, and that's where I was looking at some of this and just feeling a little confused.
Well, if you give me your address, the underneath.
Oh, I'm in the McCall district, but I was.
Oh, okay.
For others.
Okay. Well, I can show an example, just for people at home as well, because this is a good question. If people watch this and are curious, underneath the map comparison is a lookup. So if I type in my address, look it up and click on it, what that does is it tells me my current commissioner district is the McCall district and my proposed commissioner district is the Donnelly district. And so
Okay.
people can also look it up by address and get that result.
Well, we have to change that because you can't leave my district.
Well, and two, there's so much of the Cascade district that is not populated.
Mhm.
So it seems huge.
Right.
Everyone thinks, really? But it's not populated and it probably will not be populated with voters. So the change really is in this one area that you're showing where Donnelly comes south. Donnelly's expanding. Donnelly's the one that changes the most, really.
So what, I can't remember, 3,600 roughly is the number of people in each district,
In each district,
Proposed.
I have
right in that range.
right here, so total population is in this table here and voter age population.
I was just thinking about the percent of change that we would have to have in each of those areas for the next redistricting.
Right.
It would,
That's what I was trying to figure out, where some of those population bases
Right.
were, but we have absolutely no idea. I mean, a subdivision could occur and then we could have a recession and then nobody build on those lots for, 10 years. So it's really difficult to
I had
forecast.
heard that prior to the last change, it was more similar to this layout from somebody that was paying attention. I wasn't. So I thought that was interesting.
Mhm.
So I guess you could look at it like a weather map. What's come is gone and come back again.
Exactly, yeah.
And really, our result is a best case scenario. The percentages are really close. I mean, we have a little bit of leeway being that we're below that, way below that 10% mark. But it worked out really well.
I think you did a good job. And it's fairly easy to say, that like mine is city boundaries in McCall. That's going to change because they're already looking at some annexations, I guess. So that's going to change moving forward. But Donnelly is in and around Donnelly, and Cascade is greater county. You did a great job.
Thank you.
So, Lynn, do you have anything else that you have questions on?
Just for the record, can I get your first and last name?
Yes, you may. It's Lynn Lewinsky.
Thank you.
I think what
And
my.
which city are you from?
I'm from McCall.
Okay.
And I went down to the courthouse and I spent a bit of time down there and I had a concern about the division of the county. Like, we are a very divided county in our attitudes and our aspects and how we view each other. And so I was wondering, will this help or hinder our working together as a county? And I see from getting a better understanding about it, it's supposed to be about the cities of the county. And it's not really a joining together. So that was one of my first concerns about the whole topic. And, I was asked, well, do you want to have a pie shape? I said, no, not really. But I had liked that the old McCall district went down into rural Lake Fork and south, because it encompassed such a good diversity. I thought it was a good example of what our county could be working together. But the way that the census and your rules and regulations, protocol show it, that's not the discussion to be had with this.
And one of the main concerns with the old way is that, so Dave and I really, we both could have lived in the city of McCall proper. That's the concern moving forward, is
Yeah.
to get true representation. You don't want to be able to have two commissioners from within the city.
I feel really good about the way that it came together, Lynn. I feel like it gives, one commissioner from the McCall area, gives one from the middle of the valley, and then you get one from the south end of the valley. So you get a pretty good spread of people that are going to end up
As
representing
I've
everybody.
gotten a better understanding, because I just actually first saw these maps on Friday.
Mhm.
And so that was also a concern of mine that I might bring up for other issues. I don't have a computer. I definitely don't do Facebook. So I read about it in the public notices, which I try to read regularly, and a lot of people don't. So you count on the Star News. There was maybe a random quote of you saying this might be happening. And obviously you've worked on it for quite a while, November 3rd, it's now mid-December. But I don't think the public was well informed. And I might say, look at your representation here. You have one person out of 2,000 people that are in town. So perhaps for future, in a public meeting type of thing, it would behoove you to have a little bit more information out there. That said, I do think this information is coherent and it's easy to understand. And the presentation is right straight up front. And it is to give us all equal representation. I think it's pretty well done.
It's very difficult to communicate sometimes. We have had it. There was an article in the newspaper, so we did put it in the newspaper.
Ran it in one of our ads too.
Yeah, it's in the ad in the newspaper. We try and use whatever medium we can. We tried, we do have a Facebook page now that, we're trying to use, and I understand it's really
Sure.
difficult when you don't have access to those. It's just hard to reach people
We
on every level.
are now running I think it's a quarter page ad. Is it quarter or an eighth? At any rate, in the Star News every other week so that we can get messaging out.
So you kind of say, hey, this is what we're doing.
This is what's occurred,
up.
yep, and here's what's on the radar.
It's really, really helpful. And it seems old fashioned, but I like that aspect. I like that people would go to get a paper, look at what they could. Okay, there's always some crazy letter that, oh my gosh, can you believe this? Or there's some kind of great information or sale. Oh, look, I can go and buy Pancake House silverware. Who knew?
Yeah, your point's well taken. We do try and reach the public when we can, and that is the reason for the meeting tonight.
Yeah.
We had a public hearing during our meeting yesterday afternoon, and we are trying to do more outreach in the evening time and in the north end of the valley to try and engage with more
Then
people.
we'll get more used to it. It's easier. I mean, I call, like, is there a protocol? I can't just walk into a city council meeting anymore. And I feel my
Right.
civic, the openness of civic interaction is diminished over the last 2 years for a wide variety. Let's not go there. But it's enjoyable to come in sometimes. And I'm sure that the people of Donley and Cascade had some questions, but your feedback was probably fairly positive for them.
Well, and I think that right up front, we did bring in the heads of both political parties to make sure that politically that we were not dividing ourselves any further. And this is a regional approach, and just for the public's view too, the only thing these districts do is tell you where that person can live as your commissioner. Everyone votes on the commissioner. So it is still a regional approach. We as commissioners need to be speaking with everyone within the entire region and not just within our district. And I think we're all pretty good about doing that, but.
That's a big difference from the school districts.
Yes.
Which there was a lot of conflict about for this last election. And I'm glad for that because it means that I can have a choice on who I feel may represent the rural district or interact with the other districts in a better way, for example. Yeah, I think those are my biggest concerns.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good job, Kara.
Yeah.
Good job. No one's here because you did such a good job.
Exactly.
Answered all the questions up front.
It would be interesting to see how much traffic was on the website
Yeah,
through.
I,
We can pull those stats up, but that would be something else that we could just,
I'll send you a screenshot. I looked at them yesterday. It wasn't as much as I had hoped, but it was something.
So we will put this on an upcoming agenda as an action item to approve these districts and move forward with that. So Doug, thanks for all your help.
Commissioner Mopin,
All of this.
just for, I guess, do you want to ask if there's any other proponents, opponents undecided? I will share with the commissioners that there has not been anyone that's joined via Teams. We did provide a Teams link, but just I don't know if you want to go through all those formal steps or not.
If it's important that we do that, I certainly can, but we know that nobody's there. That's the best part about.
About for the record, I will.
For the record.
for the record, nobody else was online and we opened it up.
I will
Certainly are open up to any public comments at this point, for or against or undecided.
All right. If there are no further questions, don't have anybody else online with us, then we will adjourn the meeting. And thank you again for all your help. You got right on that. That was really great, great support.
Yes, it was exciting.
Right?
It really was.
Some big work.
It was something new. Yeah, and it was